Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. Today we're chatting about the Chippa United game and giving our player ratings and what we saw, some of the things we still wanted to chat about in terms of the game. But before we get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe. But let's get into it. Player ratings. Let's get into it. Bruce Vuma, I am going to give him a 6.5. Generally, he did give good saves. He came out at the right time. He's only fumbled two chances actually. There's two moments where he showed indecisiveness, and he just showed lack of leadership as a goalkeeper. And that's that one header that he almost put in the back of the net. And the second one is where the ball came and he almost dribbled the ball with Dudley there covering him. I don't know what he was doing. But 6.5 because he did save us at the end, that last shot. And then let's go to Frosler. Frosler had a quiet game, not much going forward. Chippa didn't really attack his side much, so he had a quiet game. But if a defender has a quiet game, sometimes it just means that he's closing shop. He closed shop, so that's why I'm just gonna give him a 6, 6 to 6.5. You will choose there. Then the next one is the left back, the Tlokwe. Well, technically left center. I think the shape we kind of took was more 3 center backs. So that's what it looked like when we were playing. So Ditlokwe, I'm going to give a 6.5. He was solid. Ditlokwe just showed that he's a defender. Like, Ditlokwe doesn't have time to go forward and join attack. He just defends. And in that, he stopped a lot of attacks. He actually played a big role. He has a big frame, so his presence there is good. And the one thing about him that I like is that for a center back that is very tall, he's actually very fast. He's not like those slow center backs we often have. So he's a very fast center back. So that's one thing I like about him. Dudley, I'm going to give a 6, 5.5 to 6. The reason why I'm going to give Dudley this is that he has a bad habit. Dudley has a habit of forgetting that he's a defender, and he does mistakes. He makes mistakes that you don't expect from a defender. And when I say this, I'm like, the most basic thing, this is what we even learned in primary school, is that you mark a player on the when you're marking a player, you must be from behind the player, meaning that your goals must be behind you at all times. You must never find yourself where the guy, the striker, he's mostly goal side. And that's where he got his yellow card. His yellow card came for a simple reason, in that this guy, Udodli, his back is almost facing the opposition half, and this guy easily turns him. That is a very, very bad defender mistake. He sometimes defends like I think sometimes when he does things like that, it reminds you that it's something that you would think a left back will make a mistake and do, not a center back. A center back doesn't make those mistakes. So when he makes them, it reminds you sometimes that he needs time. Miguel, I'm going to give a 6. He commanded the area. He did all the right things. He did all the right things. 6 to 6.5. I think he was solid when called upon. He stopped in anticipation. He intercepts balls like I don't know what. He can just read the game very well. The only problem with him, like I say, lacks athleticism. He lacks he's not like the fastest. He's not the strongest. He's just very sharp in terms of mind. So there's that. Then Mtetwa and Matt. Mtetwa cleaned. Mtetwa's job was just cleaning. All the attacks that seemed like something was happening, Mtetwa cleaned. Yes, Mtetwa is not good at passing the ball. So there were moments in this game where every time Mtetwa passes the ball or has a first time pass before trapping, the ball just ends up in the air. He struggles this thing of just passing the ball and it being on the ground. Like Mtetwa's passes are always in the air. That's the one thing I dislike about the performance that I watched yesterday. All of his passes, for whatever reason, end up in the air, and then the player has to trap it 25 times before, just to kill it dead before they can make the next move. So sometimes it kills the fluidity of the game. But other than in terms of defense, he was a 6 to 6.5. Matt was also 6 to 6.5. He didn't give us much in. I'll just let me say 6 because he didn't give us much in attack, which is essentially the role he's meant to be playing when partnering up with Mtetwa. But he didn't really offer us much in attack. But he was a soldier. He broke a lot of attacks. He did try going forward, but he was more adding a number forward than actually helping the team go forward, if that makes sense. So, for example, sometimes you'd find him in more advanced positions, but he wasn't necessarily making advanced passes. He was still doing this thing of passing backwards, which is one thing I didn't like. That's why I was even considering giving him a 5.5, because Matt has a tendency of passing backwards, and I don't know why he has this tendency. But yeah, it is what it is. So I'll give him that. And then the next one is Duba. Duba, I'm going to give a 4 to 4.5. A lot of you will ask me why am I giving him this? Because he doesn't play as a winger. His qualities as a winger just are not there. He just does not look like a player who should be on the right side of Kaizer Chiefs. Everything Duba does, you want him to do it as a striker, but you don't want him to do it as a winger. Because he is that kind of player who doesn't like too many touches on the ball. He doesn't like this thing of him having the ball too much. He's like a one-touch goal player, two-touch goal player. Like this thing of having the ball too much as a winger, I don't think suits him or benefits his game. He's the kind of striker who gets the ball on the run. He's the kind of striker who has a one-touch, fakes left, right, takes a shot. He's a finisher. I think he's a born finisher. But this thing of making him try dribble people from the right and cross, it doesn't work because he crosses, it hits people. He tries to dribble, the ball gets stuck under his foot. He struggles with the first touch. It's like he's trying to solve a puzzle that he's not equipped to solve. But anyway, so that's why I'm saying 4 to 4.5, because it's just not meant for that position. Then Dupree had good runs. I'm going to give him 6. He made the right kind of runs for me in this game, but we just weren't creative enough. So you couldn't really see the benefit of the runs and his closing down and all of the things he was doing. But the one thing I liked about Dupree's game is that he made the right decisions when the time came. It's just that we didn't create for him, so there's not much you can expect from there. But the one thing I didn't, so I'm going to give him a 6. But the one thing I will say with Duba is the shot that he took and Nwabali saved, like such a good save, shows you that that's his game. This thing of dribbling people, crossing, it's not his game. But anyway, Shabalala, one of the best goals of the season. That goal alone will want me to give him a 7.5. But when I have to judge his overall performance, that goal says 7.5. His real performance is more a 5 or 5.5. His real performance. But because of that goal, so what I'm saying is that his overall performance, I think if you take out the goal, it was a 5.5. But the goal pushes it to 7.5. So with that, I'm just going to give him a 6.5. Because without the goal, if we take away the goal from Shabalala's game, what did he do in the game? You see, that's the question now you have to ask. If we eliminate Shabalala's amazing goal, then the question you have to ask yourself is, where did he get things right? How did he influence the game if we remove that one play where he scored the goal? And the question is, he didn't. He lost the ball. He was passing the ball too hard to the players. He was making the wrong decisions, passing the wrong players. He just, in the first half, before his goal, I was just like, it's frustrating me. So that's why I wanted to say, his overall performance is more a 5.5, but because he scored a wonder goal, we're going to push it to the 6.5. That's all we're going to say. Finish lap. The players who came from the bench, not much. Fundo Vilagazi, I'm going to give him a rating that a lot of you guys won't like. Fundo Vilagazi, I am going to give him a rating of 3. And a lot of you are going to say, why? Why are you being harsh on a youngster? Why are you being harsh on a youngster? Yeah, this is why we don't want our young players to be promoted, because look at that. Guys, I rate a player based on the game, not based on his age. And based on the game, is that Mfundo Vilakazi has been making the same mistake for the past 3 games. He's losing the ball the exact same way for the past 3 games running. Meaning that in the past 3 games, Mfundo Vilakazi has cost us he's almost cost us 3 goals. One, Polokwane City scored the first goal that he cost us. The second one, TS Galaxy almost scored, but then they fumbled the play. And the third one is today, where you see Chippa United almost score, because that one was Buvuma saving that point blank shot. And that is all Mfundo Vilakazi making the same mistake. The same mistake where your team is committed. He's the last man at the back, but then he wants to do something fancy, or he's not reading the play. And then instead of passing the ball back, sending it back to the keeper, playing it safe, he tries to be smart. You know, those things. He tries to be tricky, but then it doesn't work out and we almost concede. So for that, just that play alone for me is going to make me give him a 3. Yes, he showed some 1 or 2 maybe positive runs, but no. That moment of the game was the difference between 3 points, and that I don't like in his game. He needs to be able to take care of the ball, especially as a winger. Especially as a midfielder. A midfielder should never be a reckless player on the ball. I like, especially if you know you are the last man. If you're the last man, you can't make reckless decisions. So that's one thing I wanted to add to this game. I didn't get the point of bringing Mashiani in the game, but anyway, that is just me. Samkelozwane showed good touches, not enough time to really give him a rating. Nkosimpile Ngcobo, Nkosimpile Ngcobo, every time it seems like he hits form, he gets injured. And then he has to restart. So now watching the restart again, it's not nice watching it, because when he was playing before he got the injury, he was going to start playing in the role Matt is playing. But then he got the injury. And then now he's back to square one, because now Matt is performing. But yeah, Nabi for this game, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. The reason why I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 is because defensively we look solid. We used the ball in the right way. So Nabi got those tactics right. Maybe even I should give him more of like a 6.5. So in terms of that, we used the ball the right ways. We in the first half now, and it's interesting. There's an interesting contradiction here. How we played in the first half, it felt so controlled. We felt like we controlled the tempo. We weren't reckless on the ball. But then when Nabi was making comments after the game, he said the players were playing that way because they were playing with fear. They were scared to make mistakes, so that's why they were too cautious and all of those things. And then I was like, oh, okay. So how we were playing in the first half, for me, it looked good. It looked composed. It looked like it's something they were doing at practice. But if Nabi says no, it's actually fear, then it's like, oh, so when we kind of doing something right, it's still wrong. So we're still waiting for what is right in Nabi's eyes. We want to see a full Nabi game where for 90 minutes he's happy. He says everything worked, is played the best way he likes. So maybe with his players that he wants, we'll eventually get to see that. So that's all I have for today. Those are the ratings. Maybe the last player I'll rate is Nwabali. Actually, decent performance, but at some point I think he was just showing off a bit too much. Because some of his dives, I think they were a bit exaggerated. But, he does his job. And I like his command. I like how he shouts at the players, how his voice is heard. He has a very big aura once when he's at the goalkeeper. And I think already when he's like that, he scares the strikers and the attackers. So that's one thing I liked about him. But Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper, I think he's better than the current goalkeepers we have. So it would be a positive if we got him. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. We can't just have foreign spots filled by goalkeepers. So my best idea for Nwabali is to swap him with Ntwari. So you give Chippa Ntwari and you pay the full price of Nabali. So let's say you give Chippa 10 million, but you give them Ntwari for Mahala. So that's what I'll do. Amakhosi.